FM Express is brought to you by
Guarantee Trust Bank. Wouldn't you rather bank with us?
Hello and welcome. Well, maybe today I have good news for you. You know, all too sometimes there's just one bad news after the other. But today, I feel in my bones that I have good news for you. What am I talking about? Rooftop solar solution to Ghana's energy crisis. How long have we gone on and on about solar energy, the need to take some houses off the grid or take some power off the grid? And maybe, just maybe, that's what the Energy Commission is launching. And I'm here so that we talk about the modalities, who can afford it, who buys it, where do we place it, indeed, how much problem is it going to take off the grid to benefit the country at large. We'll touch a little bit on the billing system to see, how is this billing system going. But today, generally, we are going to talk about rooftop solar panel initiative that's been launched. Don't move. My name is Anan Sakwao. Akwamwedu Masahini, your host, and when I come back, we're talking solar panels. Thank you very much for staying, and let me go straight to introduce my guest, Prosper Ahmed Amakwando, who's with the Ghana Energy Commission in charge of electricity and renewable energy. I hope Engineer Wood is sat by his TV watching this, because he's been going on and on and on about renewable energy. Just a few weeks ago, I think I read an article where in Germany, customers were actually being paid to use electricity because there was just so much renewable energy in the system, it had to be consumed. And those who consumed actually were paid, and we're hoping to get there someday. Not just yet, but someday. Prosper, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Nana.
Thank you. We're looking at this thing. Prosper, when was it launched? Because, with regards to energy, people in the industry have complained, and Germany is always the example that we have more sun than them, but they use more sun than we do. Countries like the UK and all these countries where we have more sun, far more than they are, yet they use it far more than we do. So if indeed there's an initiative to launch solar panel, I think it's very welcome. But let's start with when it was launched.
If viewers do remember, in 2015, the President in his State of the Nation's address did state that to be able to help solve the power crisis that we have in the country, he initiated this National Rooftop Solar Program and tasked the Energy Commission to lead the implementation. Now, the background to this initiation was the fact that if you look at our energy consumption, you realize that the residences or households are the highest consumers of the total electricity that we produce in this country.
Do you know the divide, the percentage divide?
Yes, it's close to 45%. It's close for residences, just about that figure.
Well, when you say close to 45%, it means industry are using more. I thought industry was using about 23%.
Industry is using less, but residences are using more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Because there are also other sectors that use electricity, but it's more than industry.
Okay.
So it was against this background that the President said, okay, let's take off some of the household or some of the electricity consuming gadgets in the household off the grid, put them on solar to relieve the grid of some amount of power. And in this initiative, our target is 200 megawatts for the whole project.
That's big.
Yes, that's big. And we have started this year, and the focus is to install 20,000 solar systems for households.
Taking one region off.
That's, close to taking one region off. That's close to taking one region off. And we would have to do some analysis to know which region. That's the point. Okay. So that is when the program was launched, and this was the objective of the program.
So as we speak, it's in the program is in place.
Yes, we started with a pilot program. You know, if you're starting anything new, it's good to pilot it, make the mistakes, learn your lessons, and then you roll it out. So we did the pilot project in 2015, and this year we are all out with the full implementation of the program.
Wow.
And as we speak, we have received about 371 applications nationwide. But we are still not satisfied because we think not everybody has heard about it. And out of this 300...
By the time you leave the show, I'm sure you receive another 300.
That is the point. That is the point. And out of this 371, 228 of these applications have received approval to go ahead and install the balance of systems. I'll talk later on what I mean by the balance of systems.
0560-800-000, 0560-800-000. Send your requests in and send your questions in. But I want to start with, so how do we start? Who do I write to? What do I say? And how do I get solar panels?
That's a good question. The first thing is to qualify for this program. As far as this year is concerned, you should have a household. It doesn't necessarily matter whether it is your own house or it's a rented facility. And again, it's for Ghanaians, so you should be a Ghanaian. The second thing is, if you take a look at the solar system, it's made up of different components. You have the panels, which is the most popular component of the solar PV system. You have the inverter. You have another component called a charge controller. All of these components have their functions that they play in the system. And you also have the battery. So to benefit from this program, you should be prepared to buy the other components of this solar system, apart from the panels. Install them. The second condition is you should be prepared to change all your lighting systems to what we call LED, because they are more efficient than the CFLs, the coiled one that we've been referring to as energy-saving bulbs.
The lighting system that will be run on the solar or the whole house?
You see, we are using this program to encourage people to be energy efficient. So we are referring to all the lighting systems in your house.
Oh, I see.
Because the aim is for you to put your lighting system on the solar system.
I didn't realize that, we had LED lights, for household.
Yes, we have LED lights. We have LED lights for different purposes. We have LED lights for car parks. We have LED lights for roofs, for rooms. We have LED lights for all purposes that we have conventional lights for. In fact, we even have things we call LED panels, where that panel can be used to light a whole reception.
I know viewers won't be able to see, but sometimes the lights we use in the studio are LED lights. But I haven't gone to anybody's house, like living room or bedroom, and the lights there were LED. I've seen the energy saving ones.
Yes.
But I didn't realize. So where can I buy like an LED light to?
To know where to buy the LED lights, go to the Energy Commission's website, and that is www.energycom.gov.gh. We have a list of sellers of LED lamps in the country.
Do you need to convert or change anything, step down the energy?
You don't need. That's a good point. Most of the LED lights come with a fitting that is the same as the CFL that you have. So if your CFL was a pin CFL, you have an LED that is a pin LED. If it was a screw, you have an LED that comes in the form of that with a screw base. Now, if you had a fluorescent tube, we have LED lights that are fluorescent in nature. So you don't need to change anything. You just fit it back to the old frame of the fluorescent tube.
How much percentage on the average will I be saving on LED as compared to, let's say, energy saving lights?
Up to 85%.
Really?
Up to 85%.
And the traditional bulb to LED?
For instance, if you have a normal traditional bulb, the CFL, 20-watt bulb, you can use a 7-watt bulb, LED bulb, to achieve the same purpose. And the good thing is the LED bulbs are durable, that they are long-lasting, Secondly, they are bright. Third, they don't produce heat. And they achieve the same amount of work. And most importantly, they save you energy and money.
85 is a lot.
Up to 85. Up to
Wow.
85.
Wow. Okay, so back to who can apply.
benefit. So
Yeah.
if you satisfy these conditions, then you go ahead onto the Energy Commission's website again, download the form, fill it, submit it to the Energy Commission, or you can fill the application online and add your ID card. And on the application form, we don't require technical information, too technical information,
ID card for what?
just to certify that you're a Ghanaian.
What if I'm Togolese and I'm living here? Don't I have to save energy?
You have to save energy, but the program is targeting Ghanaians. So if you are a Togolese, we will encourage you to actually buy solar systems. And there are other schemes or mechanisms that we have arranged with some of the vendors that can help subsidize or make the initial upfront cost very bearable for you. They can spread it over.
So if you're not Ghanaian, you don't bother filling the form.
If you're not Ghanaian, I'm sorry. This is for Ghanaians.
But they also, we want to take the load off Ghanaian grid, and they are living here. And if they can afford it, why don't you let them buy to reduce your energy grid?
That's a good point. That's a good point. And this is something that we will factor in as we implement the program.
Okay, so now I'm Ghanaian, I have my ID,
Yes,
I fill the form.
exactly. Then you submit it. After submission, we
But
will
the prerequisite is to be able to buy everything else apart from the solar panel.
the solar panels.
Okay.
Exactly. And change your lighting points to LED lights.
So when you say change your lighting, all your lights in the
All
house.
your lights.
So you come and count how many bulbs I have in my house.
That's a good point. Before we actually approve the installation of your panels, Energy Commission staff will come to your house, inspect that, number one, the components that you have installed are properly installed. And the requirement in addition to that is you must use a certified solar service provider. And it's the Energy Commission that certify or license
But have
them.
you got the manpower?
We are limited in manpower, but going forward, we have plans of increasing the manpower. And that tells you how we are working so hard to satisfy Ghanaians. So our staff will come to your house, inspect that the systems are properly installed, and inspect that your lights have been changed to LED. And once that is satisfied, then an approval can be given for your panels to be installed.
Are we looking 6, 8, 3 years down the line before it gets to my turn? I mean, now we are 370, whatever it is.
Yes.
I'm sure by the time you leave this show, there will be more requests. So by the time mine come in, I'll be probably like 3 years down the line before I get mine fitted.
Not really, not really. We are targeting 20,000 Ghanaians. We are targeting 20,000 households.
Before the end of the year, or?
By the end of the year. That is the target for the program for this year. That's the target. So we encourage people to apply as quick as possible. We encourage people.
Now, how do I determine how many panels I need for my house, and whether I need 2, 3, 4 panels? How do I determine? Or who determines that?
Good point. Before or after you have expressed interest for a renewable energy system or for a solar system to be installed at your home, the licensed solar installer, first of all, will do what we call load analysis. He comes to your house. How many TVs do you have? How many bulbs do you have? And what's the capacity of each of these gadgets? He sums them up. He gets the total power. Does further analysis to get the energy consumption that you need. And based on that analysis, he can size or determine the number of panels you need. He can determine the number of batteries and the capacity of each battery you need. In fact, generally, he or she can determine the size of the whole system. Sometimes the size is too big because the cost, and with the increase in size, it means increase in cost. Then there's something we call optimization. He will come back to you and say, Nana, if this cost is too big for you, we can reduce the size of the system. hence the amount of money you need to invest in that. And to do that, it means that if you have 2 lights at your gate, you should be ready to take one off. Secondly, if you often leave your lights on, in the hall on, whilst you are in the bathroom, then you should be prepared to change your attitude by putting the lights off. In other words, conserving energy. If you are ready to do that, then the system will be optimized and resized and brought down.
First, let me take a break here. And when I come back, I just want to find out, what happens at night? Because, I mean, from 6 to 6 years, we have a lot of sunshine. But in the night when I want to watch the TV and there's no more sun, what happens? Stay tuned. Well, thank you very much. Just before the break, I was wondering what happens when the sun goes down. Now, there's a message here, and it says, this so-called rooftop solar is just a marketing strategy. I doubt its ability to save energy and cost. The value is the same. Kusi Kuma in Bolga. So Kusi, Prosper would respond to that for you. In Bolga, you have a lot of sun, so you probably need more solar than But, so what happens in the night? I mean, do we have enough battery power to keep us going till morning?
Well, as part of sizing the system, the service provider or the designer of the system will take into consideration the length of time that you'll be using particular gadgets. So during the day, the battery is being charged by the system that stores the electrical power. In the night, when you don't have the sunshine, then you depend on the battery power. So that's how you can get electrical power or benefit from the solar power in the night when you don't have sunshine.
And so they'll give you enough, depending on the gadgets, they give you enough battery to last you, what, 6, 8 hours?
Well, it all depends on, your gadgets, and secondly, your paying power. Because the bigger the battery bank or the bigger the system, the more you would have to pay.
0560 800 000. 0560 800 000. I really want you to join in this because as for this energy problem, it affects everybody. So I'm sure everybody's at home saying, Nana, ask him how much it costs, ask him how much it costs, ask him how much it costs. Because, I mean, we can barely buy a lantern. Now you're telling us to buy, if you supply just the panel, we have to buy the battery, the wires, yes, the plugs, I mean, you're not being fair, is it?
Well, we are being fair because this is a capital subsidy program. We cannot give every person a solar system. And again, if you actually do the cost-benefit analysis over the lifespan of the system, which runs between 20 to 25 years, you realize that the payback period for that investment, it's less than 5 years. But the challenge is the initial cost or the upfront cost. So this whole scheme is meant to help the consumer of electricity or to help the potential beneficiary bear with the initial cost of the solar system. So for instance, if we are talking about up to 500 watts, that's close to 2,000 Ghana cedi. That's close to 2,000. And that is, we think for now, it's substantial enough to actually cushion you. The other point is, you don't necessarily have to start big, Nana, and complain about the cost. This system is scalable. So you can start small. Of course, learn to use it, make the mistakes, and learn from them. And as time goes on, you can scale up. And the interesting secret about this whole system is, on the international market, every year or as time goes on, the cost of solar systems keep dropping because the technology matures.
Prosper, okay, let me, because of the nature of your show, topic and the interest, yeah, I'll be bombarding you plenty questions,
That's
so that
fine.
we can get in as well.
That's
this
good.
one says, Nana, what if I live in a government bungalow? Can I also apply?
Yes, you can apply.
Okay.
You can apply. Even if you are moving away from the government bungalow to your own house, you can carry it along. Just as you take your air conditioner or you take your refrigerator, you can take it away.
Okay. About a year ago, I had a housemate, if I may call it. And, so he bought a solar system. And I think he paid about 3,000 Ghana cedis. Now, that came with one big panel on the roof, 3 LED strip lights, and then obviously because he paid for it, the battery pack was in his room, and he could plug the TV, fan, probably charge his mobile phone on it. But that's 3,000, Ghana cedis. I don't know how much the panel was as compared to these little gadgets that were in the room. Not many people out there have 3,000 Ghana cedis to buy one panel and watch TV.
That's an interesting case. But if you look into the market, or if you look at the market, we don't have standardized prices of solar panels or solar systems in the market. The solar system is just like every other commodity. Kojo might be selling his at 2,000 Ghana cedi, let's say per 250 watt panel or per 500 watt panel. Yamusa might be selling his at 1,000. It's an open market. We don't have price monopoly. And these are a lot of things determine this price variation. Kojo might import his panels from country B, let's say Germany. Kwame might import his panels from Ukraine. And again, the brands might be different. And like every other commodity, you are having Mac, I'm having HP. Yours might cost more than this. They might have similar functionality, but sometimes we pay more for the brand. Apart from paying more for the brand, the economics of your business, how much you spent in bringing it in, how much you bought it, differ. So the prices won't be the same. So with 3,000 Ghana cedi per panel, I wouldn't be in the position to say it's too high, it's too small. Too high, too small, relative to what?
No, but okay, another one here is that, please, is it going to be strong enough to power 4 refrigerators and 1 air conditioners in my house?
Please, solar systems or a solar PV system can do all that you are talking about. But it means that you would have to pay more. But we encourage you, in order to be able to bear the initial cost, put only essential loads on the solar. Or your goal should be to power the essential loads. What are the essential loads in a house? When you have Dumso, your major concern is the place is dark. The second major concern, or even the first major concern, is the place is too hot. So we encourage you to put your lights, your fans, and probably 1 or 2 light sockets for your laptop and for your TV. For the air conditioner and the refrigerator, we advise you to put it on the grid. And putting these on the grid, or even your iron, putting them on the grid would means that you would have to change your attitude to cope with times that you don't have power from the grid and you would have to depend from the solar for your light. For instance, you would have to iron in bulk so that your iron can rest. In case the lights are out, you can enjoy light and fan from your solar system.
How long? What's the lifespan? This is Robert in Navrongo. What's the lifespan when I have it installed?
When you have it installed, the panels last up to 25 years. Yes. You would have to change some of the battery, depending on the type, every 5 years or every 7 years. The inverter, when you operate according to the best practices of operating a solar system, it should last you close to 20 years.
Okay, this one says, Nana, what do I need to change if it's a new house and not connected to the national grid? This is Bangalore in Nandole.
No.
He's now building houses, almost done yet. And if he needs the solar panels, what does he have to do so that?
Well, just go ahead and apply like any other person, whether the person has a house or not. Just go ahead and apply. The only thing we want to know is when we come to the house, we need to have the light changed to LED.
You see, Energy Commission, you're in Accra. I mean, this guy is Nandoli. Are you going to come go there?
I'm very glad that we have come on. You've been generous enough to have us on your program, and he's watching. We agree that the communication channels or our publicity is not as high as it should be. So we are reaching out and using every means. We are using the media, the print media, we are using the radio, we are using every form of media to be able to reach out to people. Besides that, we are using individuals as our ambassadors. He is in Nadoli. Probably he is among 10 people, he might be the only one watching this show. He shouldn't keep quiet. He should keep on propagating the good news that we are sharing this evening in the studio.
The other one says, Nana, why wouldn't the government initiative for changing all street lights to solar? I mean, that's going to save a whole lot. So I've used solar before, and I enjoy it because I have lights all the time. Have you thought of street lighting in terms of taking weight off the grid?
Yes. Now, street lighting is not within the mandate of the Energy Commission.
Okay.
But as an energy entity in the country, we advise government or the ministries or whichever institution is responsible for that to switch to solar street lights. And if you drive along Accra, you realize that some of the street lights have been changed to solar. And for those who have not been changed to solar yet, you see that some of the lights have been changed to LED.
Okay, Kojo Taylor in Makasim says, what about maintenance?
Kojo, that is a wonderful point that you have raised. Now, as part of our licensing process of the service providers, we give them a license called installation and maintenance license. That gives that service provider the mandate to install the system as well as maintain it.
What's the service interval or maintenance interval? I don't know.
The maintenance interval depends on where you find yourself. One of the things that you have to look at or be cautious of when you have a solar system is the dust. So whenever you have dust on the panel, ensure that you clean it as and when you are able to do so. Because the dust on the panel can reduce the lifespan. It can cause cracking of the panel.
I see.
I don't.
So you have to wipe it quite frequently.
Frequently, as and when there's dust. So if you live in a place where you have lots of dust, that means you have a lot of tasks to keep cleaning it every now and then.
So you need a ladder. I mean, what if it's a 3-story?
Well, if it is a 3-story, the one who install it will lead the cleaning because they are specialized in this.
Okay.
The other aspect of maintenance is the battery. You see, sometimes most of these systems, people install them in their garages. And you are outside, madam will go and pick the cylinder and put it on the battery. Or the battery is just by the window, and Kweku, your son wants to pick something from the top of the window, they climb on the battery. Desist from that. Don't put any object on the battery. Secondly, the battery should be located at a place where you have free flow of air. So it should be well ventilated so that some of the emissions from the battery is able to escape. And again, when the temperature goes beyond a certain level, it reduces the efficiency of the battery. So these are some of the maintenance practices that you need to cultivate if you have a solar system at home.
Good evening, and I ask your guest, where can I get a company who will do the estimate and the wiring for me? Sami from Kede.
Sami, go to our website. I mentioned it at the beginning of the program. It's www.energycom.gov.gh.
Now, Prosper, we are saying all these things. I mean, do you have a good stock, or we're going to ring and you say, oh, wait, we are out of stock, we don't have any goods yet?
I don't think so, because we have registered more than 40 solar service providers. I agree with you. The rate at which the interest is now is not as much as the rate at which we have service providers been signing on or being licensed. So at the moment, we have enough service providers to attend to the number of systems that we want to install.
But I think 12% of Ghana is hooked onto the internet.
Exactly.
So what happened to the 90 or 88% who don't have internet to go and register and get themselves, a solar? But maybe, they are wealthy enough, but they just don't understand how to .com all these things.
Great point. We are implementing this program in collaboration with our stakeholders, and our major stakeholders in the energy sector, who are found in every corner of this country, is ECG and NETCO. So we have our forms at some of these offices. Our plan is to ensure that our forms are at every NETCO district office or ECG district office. So for those who cannot hook up to the internet, just go to the district office, make inquiries, and just pick the form, fill it, and submit it to where you pick the form. Those forms will be posted
So your
to
local ECG office?
local ECG office.
Or local gridco?
With not local gridco.
Local ECG
and, or netco, because we are covering the whole country. And ECG operates within the southern part.
Oh, netco
and
is
netco,
up there.
Bronga, Afo, and then the northern part of the country.
Funny enough, the message I just opened, probably this answers it. So now those of us in the Upper West, we can't connect since we don't have Energy Commission office. So go to the local ECG office and then it will be done for you. Maintenance.
So Upper West, they go to the netco office.
The netco office.
Yeah.
The netco office. Okay, a typical 2 kilowatt system will cost you 18,000 Ghana cedis. That's somebody's take here. A hybrid system with grid-tied PV system will ensure rapid payoff. That is what government should encourage. The typical backup systems are not very beneficial, especially when you eat away from home and there is excess power generated. What will be useful is to have a grid-tied system which can feed back some energy into the grid. This will pay part of your bills whilst ensuring supplementing generations. EAK in Kumasi is talking about a PV system which will feed back into the grid, so you become your own mini Akosombo in your house. Are you looking into that?
Exactly. I'm very excited to hear this comment from him. That tells us as Energy Commission that the message we are preaching, though slowly, but is actually gaining traction. We have a scheme that we call the net metering scheme. We have piloted it over the past years, and we are getting ready to roll it out. Now, the net metering scheme is actually what he has just explained. And let me explain it in another way to some of your viewers. The net metering scheme is a billing mechanism that is meant to encourage consumers of electricity to supplement their grid purchase of electricity with renewable energy self-generation. What does this mean? It means that when you own a solar power system plant or a renewables energy power plant, you connect it to the grid. When you generate excess electricity, then you feed it into ECG or NETCO's distribution network. Now, when you are participating in such a scheme, we give you a special type of meter we call the reversible meter or the net meter. This is what the reversible meter or net meter does. It records your imports from the grid, that's ECG or NETCO. It records your exports to the grid. Then it takes the net, that's the difference between the two. So that at the end of the month, your bill is going to be based on the difference between these two. What is the advantage to this? Number one, there's an advantage to you, the consumer, who we affectionately refer to as a prosumer. You are producing and then you are consuming at the same time. Number one, it helps you reduce your monthly electricity bills. And as I indicated, as the years go by, the cost of solar systems reduce. But because of one or two factors, as the years go by, or for the past 10 years, we've realized that our electricity tariffs or grid tariffs have steadily increased. So if you have such a system, you realize that you will actually save a lot on electricity cost.
Okay, let me get some of the questions in, please. I have 1 TV, 4 bulbs, 1 fridge, and a decoder. How much am I expected to pay?
Mostly, I discourage people, or we discourage people from putting their refrigerators onto the solar system. But if you want to put this onto the solar system, let me be very detailed technically. What is the capacity of the fridge? What is the capacity of the TV? What are the capacities of the bulbs? Until we know these capacities, we won't be able to do a detailed calculation, okay, but you can have a rough estimate. You can have a rough estimate.
Before we go, you have to give me a rough estimate.
I will give you a rough estimate. So that people
can at least, because I'm sure all TVs will range between somewhere.
Exactly. So for instance, if you have lights, which with each of the lights being 11 watts, let's say you have 2 of them, and you have interior lights, let's say 6, and each of them is 3 watts. And you have a fan with a capacity of 20 watts and a mobile phone that consumes, let's say, 10 watts. You should be looking at a capacity of 0.07 kilowatts, and that should cost you between 2,000 Ghana cedi and 4,000 Ghana cedi. Now, I'm giving a range because it's an average of the prices of different vendors.
So on that note, Derek from Koforidua is saying that, please, is there high purchase package for interested workers?
Of course, there are some of the service providers who have signed up to this program and who have the Energy Commission licenses have different packages. And they have systems synonymous to what the car sellers have. They can give you a loan or give you a facility that will allow you to pay over a period of time. Some of them too also...
It's a bit steep though, isn't it?
Yes, but most of these vendors have come to realize that they would have to be very flexible and very innovative in their business model. So some have been innovated to the extent that they'll tell you, Nana, you can't bear the initial cost of this system. So what I'm going to do is, I'm coming to install it on your roof. I will sell the power to you like ECG sells power to you, but I will sell it at a price lower than how much you buy it from ECG. So this will happen up to a point where all the bills or the power you've bought from me is equivalent to the cost of the initial system. Then I transfer the system to you for you to own. These are some of the innovative ideas that some of the service providers are coming up with.
Okay. Martin in Bolga, look for a close ECG office close to you.
Or Netco office. That's
or Netco office. Netco office. You know, we in the South get a bit over excited about ECG. So Netco office. Let me see, what is this one saying? Everybody's saying how much would it cost, but at least you've just explained it to us now. Those in the cities, obviously, you know, are we not going to be unfair on those outside of the city because of income levels? But then they also may need it. You know, those outside of the city, do they have extra, you know, looking after or extra bonuses for, you know, for those who live in deprived areas and may want to use solar?
Nana, I grew up in Bolgatanga and in Naleruga and Gambaga. I had colleagues there, or let me just say generally, if you live in these rural communities and you have colleagues, you come to Accra and you are working in Accra. It will surprise you to know that after a few years, when you get back to the village, those colleagues of yours that you left behind, they have houses, they have cars, they have motorcycles. The thing is, they might not be receiving the same amount of salary that you receive, but they spend less. So they have enough to save. And if their priority is to have a renewable energy system, they have the purchasing power more than even most people in the cities. So those in the villages, my main concern is for them to be aware of it. And when they are aware, it should be made available.
Well, let me read this one because he's taking his time to write it, so it will be very rude for me if I don't acknowledge it. This is Jonas Aziafo in Koforidua, Engineer Jonas Aziafo. He says, Nana, good evening to you and your guest. The use of renewable energy technologies, RET, especially solar technology, to solve our energy problems as a country is long overdue. Nana, I did my final year project at KNUST on solar PV and solar thermal technology jointly with students from Minnesota State University in 2009. And this project was a very successful one at the time. At the time, Minnesota was not into solar. Today, they have over 55 megawatts of solar power. What have we used our knowledge for? The answer is simple. Our leaders are not interested. And now I furthered my education to read MSc Renewable Energy Technologies at KNUST. And again, I did my thesis work on the design of solar PV system. Today, I only do that on a small scale level, designing these systems for individuals, but I wish we can go beyond this. I'm very happy to be hearing this today. And as some of us have a lot to do, a lot to offer in order to do our part for national development. Maybe you will need to contact me for more after the program and for a design for your house. This will help you say goodbye to Doomso. Engine, you see, it's a good job I read your message. Yes, I'll contact you after.
But the condition is, Nana,
Yes.
I hope he has the Energy Commission's license, else he'll be doing that for you for free. If he doesn't have the Energy Commission's license and is going to design and install for you, I'm sorry to tell him that the Inspectorate Division of the Commission will be coming after him.
Okay, so he has to get a license.
A license
right?
to be able to do that. But Nana, let me commend him for his interest in renewables energy or solar. It's very exciting to actually hear young people talk this way. And he shouldn't be discouraged. We have 3 companies who have, some of them have completed and some are almost completing their solar panel manufacturing or assembling plants in Ghana. These are institutions or companies that you can readily find job. So he should kindly visit the Energy Commission, or he should come visit our website or come to the Energy Commission. We will connect him with some of these companies.
Because I was going, that was my other thing, because for this amount of panels and batteries and wires and LED lights, are we, putting anything in place to make sure that even if they were assembled here, our brothers and sisters can also assemble, and then maybe in the next 2-3 years, technology transfer. Is that in the pipeline?
It's in the pipeline. As I said, we have 3 companies. I think 2 or 1 have already, they've completed their model or panel manufacturing or assembling plant. The 3rd one is near completion. So there is hope regarding producing our own panels. The other point that you mentioned, which is so exciting to me, is technology transfer or innovation. That is why the Energy Commission took that bold step with the Ministry of Power to institutionalize an annual event that we call the Ghana Renewables Energy Fair. That is a platform where you have the policymakers, you have industry, and you have research institutions coming together on the same platform. In time past, there have been a lot of gaps or gulfs between these 3 important players in the energy sector. You have a very big gap between researchers or academia and industry. So academia produces students who have no benefit to industry. Policymakers are not so close to people in industry. So they make policies that make industrial activity very difficult. If you take the relationship between policy and academia, because they are not close, the policymaker doesn't see the need why he or she to invest in research and development. But a fair like this brings all of these people on one platform, and we get to understand the needs of each other and how collectively our work can transform the energy sector of this country. So this year's fair, we are going to have a technology and an innovation hub, where we have the research units. You have the Ashesi universities coming, you would have the Kenya UST people coming, you have the Accra Poly, in fact, the polytechnics, all coming to showcase the innovative ideas that they have. And through that, policymakers will realize that, wow, these guys are not just there doing bookworm. They really have ideas that when we support, we can actually transform this country into an industrialized zone where we produce our own energy products.
Let me take a break, and I hope it's not just words, and at this time, we're really going to do it. But while I'm going for a break, this one says, to some of us who want to learn the installation process so we can do it for a living, what do we do? Yusuf in Hohoy. Yusuf, stay tuned. We're coming back to give you the answer. Well, thank you very much for watching and sending your messages in. And just before the break, Yusuf wanted to find out if he wants to do installation, what does he go about?
That's a good point. In time past, we had a lot of schools or institutions all around carrying out training in solar systems. But we realized during our certification or licensing process somebody will tell us, oh, I have a certificate from so-and-so institute for solar. We realize that the curricula that they used were not uniform, and sometimes the knowledge that they gained was not up to standard. So the Energy Commission, as part of its mandate within the Renewable Energy Act, is collaborating with stakeholders, with CODVET, which is mandated to lead in the development of curriculum for technical training, to unify all the curricula that the various institutions in the country are using. So we have a standard curriculum. So for this gentleman who wants to learn, there are a number of those institutions around. KNUST trains people on how to do installation and maintenance of renewables.
What if he hasn't got a degree?
You don't necessarily have to have a degree. They have short courses.
Okay.
They have short courses for people of different levels. We have DENG, Solar Training Center, which is around Alajo. They also do some of these training courses.
Okay, yeah. This is an interesting one. Nana Boating from Koforidia says, Nana, please, talking about solar energy is very nice idea. I'm enjoying now free from doom. I installed mine myself.
Good.
And this evening, all my neighbors are in doom, and I am in song.
That's an interesting one. That's an interesting one. And again, I myself seated here talking, my house, or our house, we have a solar system. So for the entire period of the doomsor, we were having SOR because of the solar system. So it works. And I like the interesting comment that one of your viewers made, that why is government not encouraging the ministries or the other institutions to install solar? Which institutions within the public sector or civil sector, service sector, actually is responsible for energy issues? The Ministry of Power and Energy Commission. The Ministry of Power has a 50 kilowatt solar power system on their roof. In fact, their car park. If you visit the Ministry of Power, you have it there. The Energy Commission has a solar system that we have actually net metered. So we feed it to the grid to help reduce our monthly electricity bills. So we live by example. But the government has actually thrown that challenge to the MDAs to practice energy efficiency, to practice energy conservation, and to also install solar systems to be able to reduce their monthly electricity bills and also be able to relieve the grid of the pressure. So this is ongoing, and many of the ministries are showing interest.
Good evening, Nana. Please tell him that his former JSS headmaster, Mr. Kotia Bugri Daniel, is watching and says he's very proud of him and wish him well in the days ahead. Kotia Matthew.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kotia. I'm really so honored, and I'm happy you played a critical role in my life when I was a student in Naleru.
Well, I'm sure, judging from your eloquence and your posture, he did a very good job.
Great.
This one says the Energy Center at KNUST organizes periodic short courses in renewable energy system design, installation, and maintenance. Those who are interested in renewable technologies can take advantage of such training programs, just as you were alluding to. You see, when this the change from incandescent lights to energy, I mean, we felt it. It was almost like a revolution.
Exactly.
But with these prices, can we revolutionize solar with these prices?
We can revolutionize solar. If you remember, when CFLs were coming into the market, they were relatively expensive.
So how many batteries do you need to power air conditioning? I've got so many questions. Can it power air conditioning? Can we power air conditions? I mean, how many batteries would you need to power an air conditioner, and for how long, if it's ever been done?
There are houses in Accra that completely runs on solar. And those houses have their whole garage filled with the batteries. My dear brother, the point is, can you bear the cost? If you can bear the cost, you can go ahead.
With it?
You get the point. And the other important point that people forget is, you could have the money to buy the system. But the question is, do you have the roof structure to contain the panels? If you have the roof space, is the roof strong enough to absorb the extra weight that the panel will exert on it? And these are considerations that people who are now building their houses or plan to build houses and want to incorporate renewables energy into those houses to start thinking about.
Give me the website and the number, because there's plenty requests for website and number.
The website is www.energycom, that is energy with com, .gov.gh. And the number to call is 020 518 1799. I take the number again, 020 518 1799. Or when you go to the website, there are other numbers that you could call.
Umar in Y is saying, what if I am on a prepaid meter? How do I feed the system? You will have to change your meter. Right?
It will be, yeah, you would have to change your meter.
You have to
because
change your meter because you otherwise you won't be able to do that. Please, 5 bulbs and 1 TV. How much? I'm at who? Where can I go? Who? You go to the local ECG.
Yes, you go to your local NETCO office or your ECG.
Who is NETCO?
No,
who
is
Who
ECG?
is your provider?
Exactly.
Provider, yeah.
Who is ECG? You can get the forms and then, you go ahead with that. But just go to, if you have the website or you have access to internet, go to our website. The numbers are there. Call and we'll readily provide you these pieces of advice.
The panels.
Yes.
How much is the state subsidizing if the state pays for the panel?
As I indicated, I think initially, the average cost of the panel, the 2 panels, is about 2,000 Ghana cedi. So this is how much the state is taking from you to help you bear the initial cost that comes with buying a solar system. But the other interesting point is, when you come to the Renewables Energy Fair, that will be taking place from the 9th to the 11th of August this year at the Accra International Conference Center, you have the opportunity to meet a number of solar service providers. And when they are there at that particular, at the conference, well, economics tells you that they will be competing, so prices will be forced to come down. So you have the opportunity to have good prices for some of these systems. Secondly, it's an important event for you to come and acquire knowledge, because we'll have a conference, an international conference, where there will be a lot of technical discussion by some of the best brains we have in this country that on a normal day you might not have access to. So the fair is the place to come and meet these people.
Are the net meters available?
Some of them are available.
So that if I connected solar, I can then apply for a net?
Exactly. If you are within the ECG's jurisdiction, you apply to ECG. And that is when we roll out the full implementation of it.
The other thing, as we are running out of time, is energy conservation.
Exactly.
I don't know whose job or duty it is to educate us on how to really, be prepared with our energy use. Because we have very bad habits when it comes to energy use. I mean, is it the Energy Commission, is it NCC, and what's happening, and what should we do with energy to, minimize the...
You see, some of the problems that we are facing or will face in this country due to power deficit is due to the wastage of energy that we have. And the crisis affects everybody from the church to the mosque, to the classroom, to the ministry room or the boardroom. So it's the responsibility of everybody. But as an energy institution, we take the lead. The Ministry of Power takes the lead. We have an NGO called the Energy Foundation. They also take the lead. But the responsibility is on all of us. So if you're a pastor watching me or listening to us, I'm throwing a clarion call to you. As part of your sermon, preach the gospel of energy conservation to your congregation.
Says, Nana, please, Nana, please ask my question for me. Can it run a corn mill, and what requirements is expected of me? Leslie from Peck.
Leslie, it can run a corn mill, but you will need about 20 acres of land, which might be arable land, to be able to install the solar farm to run your corn mill. But remember, solar energy generation should not compete with food security.
Okay, so corn mill should go to grade.
Corn mill should go to grade. Corn mill should go to grade. But as I was saying, so if you are a primary school teacher, the responsibility is on you to teach those kids energy conservation. And this is one magical aspect or secret about energy conservation. If you remember, when the Energy Commission led the change of CFL's bulbs with incandescent bulbs, we saved close to 200 megawatts of power. That was in 2006 to 2007. During the World Cup in Brazil, Energy Commission again led the nationwide campaign for people to put off their deep fridges during the time that we are having these matches. Gridco reported a savings of 70 megawatts peak load. This is what we can do with energy conservation. And actually, people have been saying, let's increase generation, let's increase generation. A time is coming where we have exhausted all our generation, conventional generation resource. We would have to resort to virtual generation, and that is energy efficiency and energy conservation.
Thank you very, very much, Prosper Ahmed Amukwando, who's with the Ghana Energy Commission in charge of electricity and renewable energy. And renewable energy is literally now probably one of the most important things we should be talking about.
Exactly.
Thank you for coming.
It's a pleasure, Nana, for having me.
And now this is not Energy Commission. This is for Tanti's Fashion, who supplies me my shirt, and I have to give her credit. And she's giving 10% on the shirts. She's on 024 366 2001. So don't ring her and say you want solar panels. 024 366 2001. Give her a call and say the answer call says you're giving 10%. Get yourself a nice shirt. And then you wear the shirt and then you go to your local energy guys to go and get your solar panel. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
I hope for watching.